A very good evening and warm welcome to She, where we discuss issues affecting women. My name is Lily and I'm excited about tonight's topic. We're going to be talking about the forgotten era. You know, those people in our community who may be elderly and maybe they're suffering or they're feeling lonely, they're feeling abandoned. That's the issue we're dealing with tonight. Remember to send your feedback to our WhatsApp line, which is 0786 316 316. And if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to leave your comments down below, subscribe, like, and share. I start with my immediate left, where is Alice Oyalo. Madam Alice Oyalo is a retired auditor and also monitoring and evaluation expert in the governance area. She is married for 36 years. I find that very exciting. And she's 59 years of age, looking as beautiful as ever, a mother of 6 and a grandmother of 1. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Lily, and good. Happy to be back with you on Family Channel.
Yeah. Asante. To my immediate right, I've got Satvinda Roni, also looking as beautiful as ever. She is an apostle at House of Prayer International in Kitengela. She is married for 22 years and she's got 4 children, and she's going to be telling us some of the experiences she has had taking care of elderly people and also organizing care for the elderly people in her church. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
And you're also a televangelist. I think I should not leave that out.
Yes.
Karibu.
It's an honor. Thank you.
To my distant right, I've got Patricia Mukayagi. She runs an elderly care agency called Visiting Angels. She's also married for 25 years. I mean, none of you actually look like the experiences that are under your belt. And she's got 2 children. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.
Let me start with Alice. Alice, when you retired, I know that the retirement point of somebody's life, after building your life around your career, you have a lot of friends in the professional world, and also people sort of need you more because of the deliverables that are expected from you. Did you feel lonely? What was that moment like when you sat down and you were like, oh my goodness, I'm lonely?
When you have your career, at that time you're a mother, and you have friends, there's a lot happening for you. You're always on the run and on the move. But then remember again, this is just a phase of life. And in life, you also go through the aging process. I believe so. So here I was, because actually from the civil service, I resigned and went into NGO world. Then from the NGO world, I went into consultancy. So since 2017, I've been doing on-off consultancy and business. But as you've said, now I'm here looking at 60, because 60 is actually classified as the elderly age in Kenya to how long the Lord can allow you on earth. Yes, there was that moment, you know, all of a sudden, even these jobs are not coming very much. But then one thing remains, you're a mother, you're a wife, and I also found myself a grandmother in the course of this. Yes, you're not going to find that active, the colleagues coming back to you. But then again, I still have the church. I have my church friends. And you're right, you live a group set and you have a group set, an age set. And right now, as you're speaking, most of my age set, actually, to be honest, are the 60 and above.
Okay.
So that to transit, there was sort of like...
It was bumpy.
You're right.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm leaving, and you feel it.
Okay.
Because you're not actually on demand as before.
Yeah.
There's this job, come do it, and all that.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at the horizon.
Yeah.
And you're telling Lord, yes, thank you, because these are also now the blessed years. I'm moving on to this because he says with long life will I satisfy you.
Yes.
Yes, and when you're growing, it's also a blessing.
Right. I'll cut you short at that point because I want to come back and talk about the empty nest season of your life as well.
Thank you.
Let me go to Satvinda. You have both Kenyan and Indian heritage.
Yes.
And I was just, as I listened to you talk about some of the elderly in your life that you feel have been abandoned, I would want to know what has been your most moving experience in your journey?
Well, thanks, Lily. I was just driving past somewhere and I saw this old lady and she was so famished. She looked like she had traveled for a very long distance, thirsty and torn clothes. And I asked myself, doesn't she have children or any relative to take care of her? And I looked at myself and I said, I could not reach like as many of them to help them, even though I had the compassion to do so. But if we could all start from our families and care for the ones whom God has put in our family, then that woman, someone will reach her from her end.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yes.
So when I look at, like my mom, she has African heritage and my dad is Indian. So looking at, from my personal experience, when I look at my dad's side, what I have found in the Asian community is like when a woman has like sons and they get married, the wife is like she gets married to the whole family because the sons don't leave the home of their mothers. They don't leave their parents. They don't leave their mother. They don't leave their father. So like this wife will take care of her children, her husband, and the elderly that she finds in that home. Even though they don't get, even though a couple don't get a son who will literally bring the wife, the daughters never leave their parents. One of her children will take care of her. Let's say this woman or this couple is barren and they don't have children. One of the family members will take care of them. I have not yet seen in the Asian culture, like the elderly being left to stay alone with no one to care for them. When I come to our African side, I have seen my grandmothers being left alone, you know, like their sons, I mean, they get married, the ladies get married and they've gone and they leave their mothers, Oshago, you know, and when even they get children, they burden their mothers with these children, as in, we are working in Nairobi, we can't afford a big house, you stay with these children.
Not only are we not helping them,
then they sell very small amounts of money, like sending 1,000 or 500 bob, and you're expecting that old woman to budget the whole, you get my point, saying that that area is not. So I saw these different cultures, like in the African culture, women are really left alone, ushago, to suffer. So what I did for the elderly in my from my mother's side is I can't bring them out from where they live. There's a certain way they live. They've grown up. They've had their children. So what I do is to try and send help as much as I can. And in our church, what do we do with the elderly? We also try and help them as much as we can. But I feel like if we, as the Bible says in the book of Isaiah 58, if we just help the relatives who are in need, especially the elderly, if everyone reaches out to the elderly in their family, leave alone community, just their close family, we'll have many of them taken care of with such a mentality.
That's true. And, you know, talking about sending help, I think that's where Patricia comes in. Your profession is caring for the elderly and organizing how the elderly can get care. But I'm sure you've had an experience that really moved you even in the course of your work. What was your most, you know, triggering experience?
Actually, it's not only one experience. The same experience is repeated over time. Yes, where we have this family. And I want to put a disclaimer because they are not in lack. They are not lacking. They have the means. But you see the mother or the father is unwell and has over time deteriorated. And because of, I think, lack of coordination or lack of communication or discord in the family, you find it's only one member who is really taking care of that person. Everybody else is sending the money. They'll send the money, but they are not helping out in terms of ideas, suggestions, proposals. Can we do this and do the other? So the one person that is left gets really, really overwhelmed. And what does that do? Of course, he or she can only do so much. The condition does not improve. And what I would like to say is that such families, I wonder what happened. You know, what is going on? I mean, you've got the money, you've got the knowledge. There's nothing you cannot get if you really look out for it. And for me, what I say is where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
If they truly, truly look for a way, they will get it. We have enough of it. If you ask, by the time you ask the 10th person, you will have gotten really at least 60% of the solution.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. Let's talk about the empty nest syndrome, because she's talking about children who are grown and they're sending money. And according to them, they're doing their best. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with me just sending you money? And then maybe I touch base with you once a week on phone. How is that translated to you as a mom, as a grandma? How do you translate it?
Okay, thank you, Lilian. Remember, a mother is blessed by God because when God gives life, it's passed through a woman. And from the moment you get this baby, there is that love. So either way, it's a biological child or a child you've adopted, or you're taking care of these children. There is that element of love, and you're growing up together with them. And this is how the traditional society should be. And as our sister here said, that is how it should be. And everybody needs love, whether you're young or old. So at one point, these children, they tend to grow and leave the nest, and they leave one by one. And I've also realized sometimes I also experience the empty nest syndrome because my children, one is married, stays with the wife, one occasionally, the other one, they move on, go stay in another station, work-related, career-related, and then they come back. Another one is very far. So what do? You keep on making phone calls. And sometimes, as she said, it's not about the resources. It's about being there.
Okay.
Being there for the elderly. Because I'm sad, and I look at my own mother-in-law. She is a strength, not just to the family, but even to me. Because she is 80-something, but I find that I still tap onto her wisdom. There's some things that I really want to do family-wise. I still tap onto it. And remember now, that's what I'm also doing to my children. Sometimes I make a phone call. Where are you? I haven't talked to you for 2 or 3 days. And you hear behind the scenes, sometimes 2 are around and they say, you know, she's just doing like that roll call on you. Yeah, she's checking on you. You understand? And then there's a time when a week can go, you're not together. But now you're just left with the husband. Then now what do? I start calling. Okay, can I talk to my grandchild? Can you put him on WhatsApp video? We are talking, you understand? Yeah. There's that empty nest syndrome. Yeah. But that translates to the society. Yeah. Because maybe some might not be sending money, some might be sending the money. But remember, these people, they grew up with you, they brought you up.
Right.
And now you're talking of another generation. And this is very common. If you look at Kenya, even the age 60 bracket and above, they're now demographically is being said that the number is increasing. And what do? If we don't take them to the homes for care and love, some find themselves again alone in the house. So how do we make sure that, again, as they transit, we are alone, we are taken care of? Yeah. And we still feel loved, and we continue what we had before, because even as people age, one thing, your love does not die. It dies when you leave this world. The care does not end.
True. Thank you so much, Alice, for that. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Satvinder. One of the things young people struggle with a lot in handling the elderly is the reprimands, because sometimes it can feel like criticism. And you're like, I know what I'm doing. So I would like to hear from you when we come back, how you deal with that. So don't go away. We'll be back after the short break.
Tomorrow on This Is My Story, it is very easy to take for granted the phenomenon that we are each alive.
I was removed the entire jaw.
When it comes to life, the most critical thing is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude.
I told God, I've tried suicidal, I didn't die. I've tried so many things, I didn't die. So your will be done.
It's a story about tragedy, pain, loss, and celebration on This Is My Story, tomorrow at 8:30 p.m.
Welcome back. This is She. My name is Lily, and we are talking about the forgotten era. As we speak, don't forget to leave your comments and your feedback on 0786316316. That's our WhatsApp line. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment down below, like, share, subscribe. And, you know, as we speak about the people in our lives that are elderly and they've had such a great impact on our lives, it's easy to forget them. What can we do to ensure that they feel loved and accepted in our society? I had promised that I would start with Satvinda.
Yes.
On our conversation on phone, you had mentioned that you're taking care of about, I think you had mentioned 3 ladies, is that true? So as you take care of them, do you sometimes feel like they reprimand you or criticize you? Does it bother you? Have you ever had that thing that Alice mentioned?
Definitely. There are 2 perspectives.
Yeah.
I'll look at it in the eyes of the youth and the elderly, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, when a young person is being advised by an elderly person, they feel like this elderly person is telling me or wants to tell me how to run my life or to live my life.
Yes.
But the perspective of this elderly woman or man is like, I want to tell you the right way to life because I have made mistakes that you have not made, but you will make.
Yes.
I have made mistakes in my life that you are yet to make.
Yeah.
You see? So for us, as when we are young, or when my shosho comes to visit me and she tells me what you're doing here is wrong, or you should not talk to your husband like that, you should not do, you know, especially that's where I get it the most. You girls, you don't know how to humble. Nowadays, there's no humility.
Yeah.
That's where my shosho hits me hard. When it comes to how I talk to my husband, to me, I find that I'm being so polite, but she's on another level, you know? And I feel like, I know my husband more than you, but she feels like there are many mistakes you're yet to make that I have made, you see. And so I value what she tells me. Okay. She's gone ahead of me. She's seen life. There's nothing new under the sun. But in this journey of life, the difference between me, for example, and my shosho is 40 years. So what hasn't she seen? So I take it positively. Personally, and I'd like to tell the other youths to take it positively, because definitely these people have made the mistakes we are yet to make, and they just don't want us to suffer as they suffered. For me, what I do, my shoshos are not very old. Some of them usually come to my house, they visit me, and sometimes I'd stay with them even for 6 months. I was telling them, Shosho, what are you going to do at home? Just stay here. Those who can't come to my place, I visit them once in a while, maybe once in 3 months, because again, you can't blame the youth of today, if I'm to speak frankly. Because here we are, our shoshos don't want to leave their homes. That is where they have lived. They don't want to come to us.
Yeah.
And here is this young person, I'm so busy hustling, I don't even have time for myself.
Yeah.
Now, what we have to think about is how to form this bridge that, you know, yes, you are hustling, you're busy already, you have children, you have a husband, you're working hard. What time do I get to think about the elderly in my community? I think that is now what we need to help people with.
That's true. The other day I was talking to my shosho, and I asked her, what are you having for dinner? So she told me what she was having, and then she asked me, and you, what are you having? So I just felt like that was a nice conversation. We were not talking about what I need to do or what she needs to do or I need to visit or what. And I think then that also brings in the friendship aspect of it. So, you know, I really appreciate you for even saying that you actually ask your shosho not to leave. What are you going home to do? Let me go to Patricia. Do you have a favorite client, and what makes them your favorite client in your many years running that agency?
I have many favorites.
Okay. Pick one.
I'll pick the first one that we had, because I didn't know her, but she was introduced to me by a friend. And when I met her, she was just turning 60. She was actually our very first client. So I'm going in to start this business. I don't know. I have really no expectations.
Okay.
And she was unwell, really sick, and she also knew she was in her end days.
Okay.
But she was so calm, and she was so engaging, because she was very well educated. She had everything really that she needed. But she was not feeling sorry for herself. No, she wasn't. And we had many discussions. And she would tell me stories, many stories of her life, how she had done things, where she had been to. And she told me, you know, Patricia, when I got this diagnosis, I got it 20 years ago. That was then. Wow. And I told her, but your children were very young. And she told me, yeah. My daughter was, I think that time she was 3 years, and my son was 2. Because she had just gotten them, you know, following each other. And she told me, let me tell you what I thought about. I said, I'm going to leave my children when they are toddlers. Then they will be insulted because they have to be housed somewhere. They'll be told, your mother didn't teach you this, your mother didn't teach you this. She told me, Patricia, I said I will leave. I am not dying. And she lived for 22 years.
Wow.
And she taught me something. The power of the mind and the power of the willpower.
Yeah.
The willpower to live and to push. And I have found that a lot in women. And I pray the same for me too, that I would have someone to hold my hand and even pray with me towards the end of my life. And that we have been able to do for many others.
Wow.
So that's why she really stands out.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Alice, when I asked you if you got age anxiety now that you're turning 60, you know, some of us when we were turning 30, we were having age anxiety. We were like, oh my goodness, have we done enough? You know, I heard it's called quarter life crisis. But you don't have any age anxiety.
None, absolutely.
Are there things that you did when you were younger that you feel have helped you to be so confident and self-assured in yourself?
First of all, my faith in Christ, that keeps me going, because all along as you journey through life, you're journeying with hope.
Yeah.
Because, you know, by the end of the day, there'll be one day when you'll be called back. So I believe that life on earth is a gift first thing. So as we go through school, you go through secondary school, you go through college, university, you get married, you become a career woman. Then after that, now I can say now I'm going to tier 6. I've had my children say when you reach 50, that is tier 5. We tend to now stereotype, which I'm saying as I'm moving towards that, I'm not worried because I don't want to be stereotyped. The elderly, the old. Some people look at those people, the retirees. But this is a rich mine of resources. Emotionally, you said, one changed your mind, she was 60. Towards life and your purpose. They have relevancy, a lot of it. Could it be the experience, the skills, the motherhood, what they had? There's a lot now that we tend to shift. And as it's shifted going 60 and beyond, people tend to say these are the people who are now sort of like socially secluded. They're down there. These elderly people could still reprimand with love. They could still guide. And the community was cohesive. And if we let this die, we'll also be letting our society die. Right. If we're not careful. We need to tap on this. How do we bring them together and tap onto it? Because they're the fabric we're still hanging on to.
I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you. Apostle Satvinda, what's your most memorable moment as you care for these elderly people or as you see elderly people in your church? Which one is closest to your heart?
Well, in the church is my memorable moment would be one lady who came to our church and her daughter had passed away and left her with some grandchildren. She didn't even know where to start and she'd be like, Pastor, I can't even work anymore. I don't know what to do. If only of my 3 grandchildren you could help me just educate one. That would be enough. I would not even ask you for anything. So we took that young boy, took him to school, he finished, went to college, and the boy just, I mean, he's just an example of an encouragement to all the other pastors and members of the society that if you help one person, you've helped the whole village. Because the boy not only took care of his siblings, but he took care of that grandmother, plus he took it upon himself to take some children from their family and educate them. I mean, one good deed turning the lives of so many people. Today, the boys' schools, he pays for the school fees for 2-3 children in their family. Then look at nature. As we age, we start becoming like children. But why is it that our children now feel like we are burdensome, we are a bother? You're getting my point? So I try not to do that, and I try to teach my children. Because I feel like they're watching me. What they see me doing to the elderly in my family, they will do it to me. Because the Bible says God is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. So sometimes I do for this elderly in my family, not only for them, but for me. I am sowing seeds for myself. The Lord, as I'm doing it for them. When it comes to my time, though in Isaiah 46:4 you have said, you will not abandon me unto my gray hairs. When it comes to my time, let me harvest what I have planted. But if you as a farmer have nothing you sowed in the lives of the elderly, what do you want to harvest in your old age?
Where? Hey, let's digest that. Let's wait first to digest that. Okay, but that is powerful. That's
Glory to
powerful.
God, yes.
Patricia, I think you might end up getting the last word on this, and I just wanted to know what's been your lowest moment. And I say that so that it can leave us with that awareness of maybe something that you find as a society we've missed out, but you can remind us that gently through sharing with us your lowest moment in your career running an elderly agency.
Yes. Every time that I come across the kind of family that I described, it hurts me. It breaks me personally, not only as a professional. Especially when I tell them that there's hope. We can do this. Do this, talk to so-and-so and see this, and they are dragging their feet. I just imagine what could be going on in their minds. Is it that they don't want to do it? Is it that they want their parent to quickly, or their grandma to quickly pass on? What is it? And because I don't want to get too much into their space, then I let it be. That really hurts me, because I know there are solutions. I know we have limited resources for the care of older persons, especially in the medical field, even in the nursing field. But there is something. Truly, there is something. Do something. Do what you can. Change that situation. If it is a wound, let it be sorted out. Don't just look at it. If it is diabetes, get a doctor. And someone who can supervise. And it doesn't have to cost anything. Again, some are saying, I think I mentioned here the other time, is like, mom was never there for me, so why should I really bother? You guys who she brought up, I think that's for you, And there's some go abroad, they just run away. The dynamics are really broad. But where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah.
All right, let's end on that note. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm sure there's a grandmother or a grandfather in your life, if not an aging parent, that you need to exercise your willpower to ensure that they feel loved and taken care of. Thank you so much for your company. This has been She. I've been your host, Lily. Remember to leave your comments and feedback on my WhatsApp line, 07863163316. And if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you next week, same time, same place.